back on Born Before 64 with Max Schutte, and we're talking about World War II and the missions that he did with his compatriots and fellow vets, our officers and enlisted. How many men were actually, you said 10 were on the ship, 9 or 10?
Yes.
Were they enlisted and officers?
Yeah, the 4 officers and 6 enlisted men. Among the enlisted men was the flight engineer, who was a very important man in the crew. The officers were pilot, co-pilot, navigator, and bombardier. Now, we flew in formation, so unless we flew the lead ship, the navigator just followed the lead ship, and the bombardier would just toggle the bombs out on when the lead ship dropped his bombs. So we did lead in the last 5. I flew 25 missions out of Italy, and the last 5 I was lead ship. So
was that pretty exciting for you?
Oh, it was all exciting.
I know, I know.
And as I say, we saw men die, and but you never thought it was going to happen to you. You knew you were at risk, but you never thought it was.
You never went off of a carrier, did you?
What?
Did you ever come off of a carrier?
Oh no. No, this was the Army Air Force at that time. Of course, now it's the United States Air Force. It's a separate branch of the service.
Right.
But one day we were, as I say, in Italy, southern Italy, a little place called Manduria, and on takeoff, we had a runaway prop. That is the prop control mechanism went out, and the propeller was just whirling, and it was creating a drag because it wasn't really creating any power. And we were fully loaded with fuel and bombs. And the rule is you never land a bomber with full load of bombs and fuel.
Because why?
Well, because the stress on the landing gear is too much.
And it could explode the plane?
Well, it could, and that was the fear, because we couldn't maintain our climbing speed, or we couldn't maintain our altitude. So we had to make a quick 360-degree turn to get back to the landing field, and we didn't have time to burn off fuel, but we could drop the bombs.
So where did you drop them?
Well, we were right over the little town of Manduria when the tower told me to jettison the bombs.
And what'd you say? I can't do this.
These are our neighbors. I didn't think it would make us very popular in Manduria. I mean, they had not been, the bombs were still on safety, but dropping them like that, you never know what was going to happen.
So what did you do?
So I landed the plane, fully loaded.
Oh, that was scary, wasn't it?
And it was, and but it was the smoothest landing
that you've ever done.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And of course, the crew all knew what was going on, and so it was a pretty scary time. But there were other times that were scary, just a quirk of fate is all you could call it. We were over Brod, Yugoslavia one time, and we were flying in the formations, the squadron would put up 10 ships, and there'd be 2 chevrons, 3 and 6, and then a 4th chevron flying one behind the other, and then 10 was in the center in the back. Well, I was flying in number 5 position, and the number 4 position man had engine problems and had to drop out and return to base. So I moved up to number 4, and we got over Brod, Yugoslavia, and the position I'd been in before, that plane got shot down.
Oh my
And
gosh.
So
You were
that was
really
just-
lucky, weren't you?
just a quirk of fate.
Quirk
That's
of
all.
fate that you
Yeah.
that you were there in such a position that. So, tell me something. When did you get together with your? What did you do on your off time?
Well, we had in Manduria, it was the head of the 450th Bomb Group. So all of our squadrons were based together, and it was also the headquarters of the 47th Wing, which included other groups in the general area. We had an officers club in Manduria that we could go to, and actually we had an officers club on our own base. We every morning our tails were painted white at one time, and they called us the Cottontails.
The Cottontails. That's cute.
And every morning when they blew reveille over the loudspeaker, after that they'd play Duke Ellington's Cottontails,
Oh wow.
which
Which was really good.
yeah,
Right.
and I saw Ellington one time. He was in Houston playing at the Houston Country Club, and I visited with him one time, and I forgot to tell him that. He would have enjoyed that
Right.
because he was an interesting man. But in any case, back to the war, there were other lucky things, just quirks of fate, which occurred, which killed somebody else. It might as well have been us. And I'd say equipment failure. One of my best friends, we went all the way through training together, and ended up in the same squadron overseas. He was killed on a takeoff because of equipment failure. So you never could tell.
Now, let me ask this question. You weren't married or anything when you went to the war, were you?
No, but my future wife, we had known each other since junior high days, and she was a faithful correspondent.
She was.
She wrote me.
Having those letters coming from home meant a lot to
Oh
didn't
yeah.
it?
One time I was growling a little bit at the my crew for some housekeeping reasons, and one of my enlisted men, gunners, Frank Pugliese, said, "I guess the lieutenant hasn't heard from Liz lately." And they knew about our correspondence, and he had it down pat.
Right. I mean, that was really, my mom and dad actually met. They were actually working with an aviation company that actually built the airplanes. And my father,
Where were they?
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
And on that note, we need to take a short break, and we'll be right back on Born Before 64 with Max Schutes.